If 2020 has taught us anything, it's that loneliness and loss can happen at any time, and there's nothing we can do to prevent it. The Spanish princess? Pretty similar. The only difference is we now have therapy. The finale shows us an increasingly hostile King Henry who just wants to have an heir. Unfortunately, there are no fertility clinics or lots of biological knowledge so that he can understand why this is not happening. And while his Aunt Maggie Pole loses everything, she decides to tell the king the truth as she knows it. That Catherine did consummate her relationship with his brother before his death and their marriage. And that is why King Henry thinks she can't conceive. She's cursed. Henry's sister Meg is also asserting her wishes and sets herself up as in charge of Scotland since her son is King James. She is ruthless in her pursuit of power and believes she deserves everything, no matter what. Since Catherine can't actually produce a son for King Henry, he's decided to put all of his hopes into his bastard son. Unfortunately, he hasn't had the same education as his daughter, and she totally shows him up. And Catherine is very proud that the royalty showed itself. Lina and Oviedo have their own problems. Their children are being harassed while living in England, and Oviedo wants to leave, especially since Rosa has arrived, and they could all sail with her to someplace safe. The problem is that Lina feels duty-bound to her queen, which is kind of weird since her kids are being harassed, but she just doesn't want to leave her. King Henry finally decides to confront Catherine about the truth of her relationship with his brother, because he is just convinced that she is cursed, and she has cursed him, and she's never going to have a son. So he takes her out. It's this very traumatic scene where Catherine kind of admits it, and they both quote Bible verses to each other, but ultimately, you feel like she's told King Henry the truth, that she did sleep with his brother, and he loses it. Tells her that she's burned up his kids with the fires of hell or something. It's not good. She begs him to love her back, but he tells her he hates her. This is why it's not a good idea to have sex with brothers. Pick one. It's also kind of interesting that Henry doesn't just pick one sister. This episode shows us that he starts an affair with Mary Boleyn, and we all know he ends up with her sister Anne. The one person with a happy-ish ending is Meg. She blows up her enemies and takes control. Although anger management class might have been a good option for her. In general, the series has a sad ending. Lina leaves the court for the safety of her family. Catherine and Mary leave court on their own. It's too bad history doesn't always have a happy ending. That would have been some fiction I might have appreciated at the end of The Spanish Princess, which was a very good show.